How are we doing, friends? And welcome back to Continues to Tick. Here we are now with the monthly dividend portfolio review for November of 2024. And you know what this means? This means one more December next month and we're done for the year. And that's it. That's 2024. And I'm not going to rush into this. I do have one nice thing happening in the last month of the year, apart from general holidays, which, are good for the people that enjoy them and then are stressful for the people that don't. But for me, I'm actually going to Cancun in December, taking my family there for the very first time. My mother's dream trip, and it's coming up, and I'm quite excited for it. So I'll make sure to share some of those clips with you whenever that happens. But friends, if you're new here, welcome. I've seen some new subscribers join the journey, especially after hitting the 100K mark. And I just want to appreciate those that have been here for a very long time. Some of you guys have been here from around the 30K mark and before. So this has been a nice ride. We're going to continue to climb, and we're just going to continue to allow time to tick, right? And invest and continue to do our thing. We have a plan and we let time do the rest. Friends, in this video, I'm going to tell you how much I fund my portfolio and how often. I'm going to dive into my sector allocations and percentages. In that, I'm going to tell you some of my best and worst performers per sector. I do also start to dive into the holdings, which are my best holdings, which are my worst holdings, and we'll touch on that too. And then I'll let you know the number of my current holdings in the portfolio, my current dividend portfolio's yield, what is my expense ratio, and I also like to take inventory in my mind of some of my short and long-term plans every single month, and I do that monthly, during these reviews with you guys. So that's always kind of neat. And I always recommend you guys doing the same thing. Don't just set one future-oriented plan and then just forget it. Come back and reevaluate it often. For me, I do it at least once a month here with you guys publicly, right? But I also do it privately with myself at least 2, 3, 4 times a month. That's just a time for me to connect with myself and see, hey, is my current circumstance still in alignment with that future version of myself and the lifestyle I want to live? And if it's not, if it's incongruent, there's something I have to change. If it is congruent, if it is in alignment, then we're good, smooth sailing. But life tends to happen, and you're going to have to make adjustments along the way. And at the very end of that section, friends, I'm going to tell you how much my dividend portfolio currently pays me in dividends, and it won't be much different from the last video, but we're going to go through the process anyways, and this is what we do, right, every single month. And then for the topic for today's video, friends, in honor of something I am seeing, I want to tell you the story of my worst loss and investment regret to date. I don't know. Can you guess it? Can you guess it from here? So here we are, friends, in the Jesse's cash flow portfolio, now at $100,948.68. And I'm going to show you over the past 2 weeks, we took a divot, but we kind of came back and, we're in good standing. But nonetheless, friends, this portfolio is going to go up and down over the course of time. I don't really stress about that. Being a dividend investor, what you created this portfolio for. What matters is the cash flow. It's the dividends getting paid out. Also, just like that balance, right, of growth and dividends, right? Especially if you're young. For me, I'm 29 years old. I'm fairly young. I don't plan to pull from this portfolio anytime soon. So it is like a balancing act of growth and dividends. Every single holding I have in my portfolio pays me a dividend. Even if it's as small as Nvidia paying pennies, it is a balance, right? It is a balance. With that said, friends, this is the all-time chart. I'm just going to show you here based on what I see. All-time dividends earned is now at $7,489.66. You can argue and say that's money that was never mine to begin with. I would argue that. And I think that's the neat thing about being a dividend investor, is you get paid passively over time. So over time, since beginning this portfolio back in July 2020, if you wanted to know when it was initiated, July 2020, I've earned $7,489 of dividends all time. And I'm not going to go into the money-weighted rate of return here. There's a better method for me to show you how well my portfolio is doing. I'm not a fan of these numbers, so I'll show you that one here in a second. But I just wanted to go over this graph here and just show you over the past week we've been going up. But over the past month, we took a really sharp divot down all the way to 96,000. I think this kind of correlated with the time of the election and so on. I can't exactly remember. It just tells you how much I pay attention to the news, really. I just continue to do my thing, right? Which is that over time, this portfolio is going to continue to climb, right? As you've seen. Over time, in the reflection of my portfolio. There's been plenty of times when it's dividend, gone down, oh man, crash, right? Oh man, crash, like over and over again. But the overall trajectory is everything goes up. And why is it going up? It's going up because this is an asset that you're holding. And here in America, inflation is going wild. So if you're holding an asset, it's going to be inflationary. Make sure you hold assets so it goes up over time. It's really as simple as that. If you're holding no assets, you're devaluing your own net worth. If you're holding assets, it's just going to increase over time until, I don't know, society collapses or something. But it's going to continue to go up, friends. But I just wanted to show you guys that, a little bit of the chart. I can extend over the 3-month, the year to date, and so on, but the overall picture is it's going up. And since we're here, friends, I'll just mention it. At the moment, I'm still not funding into this portfolio, and I'm hoping to maybe just keep it this way for about another month or so. But I'll mention a little bit more of that in my short and long-term plans. So now going into the holdings here, this section, this is where I want to tell you guys how well my portfolio is doing. I have an unrealized gain of $28,820 over the span of about over 4 years, since July 2020. That came out weird. And it equates to about 39.96% return. So my cost base is $72,127.70. And my value, as you've seen, is almost 101K. And here's a little sneak peek at the number of positions that I hold. So if you've been watching my videos, I did mention in my last video, maybe I'll sell a chunk off, right, to kind of rebalance my finances. I haven't done it yet. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to prolong it till the very last day, that I have to do it. So for now, I'm still holding on. So going back to this page here, I want to show you my target allocations, my sector allocations, and so on. So we're going to go by the biggest. So real estate, and this is going from order of highest to lowest in terms of my target sector allocations, right? Real estate, I have it set at 13%. Consumer staples at 12%, and you can see here so on and so forth, 10%. The number on the bottom, this is my target allocation. The number on top is my actual, right? So my target is a 10% ETF. I'm at 8.7%, right? My consumer staples is at 12% target. I'm at 9.9%. You're going to see here in a second, it's because of tech. My tech sector has gone so imbalanced that it's at 19% actual, 10% target. And, I'm young, I'm leaning into growth. I'm allowing it to do its thing, but also mainly just because Nvidia has been going insane. And what can I do about it? I could sell it, but I feel like that just wouldn't be the wisest thing to do right now. I'm playing with house money on Nvidia. I've sold about 2,000 of it last year, a little bit over a year ago, to fund my Greece trip and pull my money out of Nvidia. So everything in here is pretty much house money at this point. So I really have nothing to lose. Maybe only to gain. And if I really wanted to be strategic, I sell it and spread it out, but I don't even think that's the wisest thing, because I still think Nvidia has a lot of growth potential. And it is a dividend payer. It just pays a very small amount in pennies and crumbs. It gives you growth. So, it's there. And yeah, I figured that was worthwhile to show you guys. And then just continuing to go down here, friends, you could see my sector allocations. Utilities, for example, is at 10%, financials at 9%, industrials at 8%, healthcare at 7%, communications at 5%, energy at 3%, materials at 2%, and then consumer discretionary 1%. And a lot of this is only year to date, so it's not even all time. So the numbers are going to change here. Let me show you my best sector here. So my best one obviously is tech because of Nvidia and the actual and target allocation issue going on. And then financials is my second best sector in terms of performance. With 149% return, energy is at 126, industrial 79%, and so on and so forth. You can see here for yourself. And then healthcare is the only sector that I have in the red. It's down about 13%. Like I said, I'm a nurse. I believe in healthcare. I do think the healthcare system's broken here in America, but that's an issue for another time. Just because it's broken, I don't think you won't make money on it. I think it's broken because people make money on it. Just a thought. And let me show you the best and worst performers, since we're kind of in this section here. So Nvidia, almost a 1,000% gain overall, I think, with dividends and with my last piece included that I sold. I don't know how it calculates this, to be honest, but I have 84 shares at an average price of $13. That's crazy. I've just held it. I've held it for a while. It's given me more shares, and that's just how it goes. It's the golden child in my portfolio. Remember that, because I'm going to tell you about one of my worst losses of all time. And sure, this is very beautiful to look at, but my loss I'm going to tell you about is you're just going to see, and I can't wait to tell you. So Oracle's my next best performer at 166%, Exxon 149%, and you can see here, for yourself, so on. Pretty much a lot in the green, right? I'm doing really well. The markets are really well right now, I would say. Johnson & Johnson, minus 2%, and everything else is in the red from here. I will say, if I'm going to sell anything from this portfolio to kind of stabilize myself financially, I'd be selling some of my losses. Pfizer's minus $659, Medtronic is minus $292. UGI has come back over the last couple weeks. It was a lot more in the red. Now it's only minus 150. Maybe that has to do with the presidential election. I haven't looked into it too much. But yeah, this is just like a snapshot of, kind of where I'm at. And let me show you the dividend activity section. I know there's nothing fancy here in terms of what's going on because I'm not actively funding my portfolio. My last fund into this portfolio has not been for a while, I will say. But as you can see, this is a dividend portfolio. I still get paid dividends. I still fund my dividends back into my portfolio. That's also known as a DRIP. I did talk about this ECG Everest Construction Group in one of my earlier videos. But see, these dividends continue to come, and then that buy order continues. So even though I didn't fund anything, over this past week, I still got paid dividends, and then I dripped them back in the value of $42 back into the portfolio. So this is when they say the dividend drip can be quite powerful, right? I'm not putting anything into this. It's paying me, and then those payments are going back into other holdings in this portfolio. That's the neat thing about being a dividend investor. So let's see here, friends. We'll go back up here. Let's see what else I missed. So I told you how much I fund, which is nothing at the moment. My sector allocations, we went over those. And then, okay, so let's go into the data. So here we are, friends, in the data section of Jesse's cash flow portfolio, which is that portfolio I just showed you. And if we scroll down to here, you could see again, 50 holdings are in my portfolio. Yes, it's a lot. Some people think it's a lot, right? And I get it. It's just a method that I've gone with, and we all have our own tolerance, and maybe for you it's a lot less. For me, I enjoy holding 50. Maybe it'll come and bite me at some point in the future, but it hasn't bit me yet. And maybe at some point I'll really have to make some changes. And as far as the dividend yield, it's at 2.876%. And I'm comfortable with anything between 2.6 and 3.4. And it always kind of fluctuates between them, right? Depending on if my portfolio is very heavily in growth. When the markets are going down, my portfolio goes down, but I still get paid the same dividends. Right, when the markets are going up, the portfolio inflates, and I still get paid the same dividends. Right, it's just the yield percentage. And as far as the expense ratio, 0.01%. So I gave you that data, friends. So let's talk about the short and long-term plans for the portfolio. So the short-term plan, friends, at the moment, like I mentioned, I stopped and paused my funding schedule. I've done this for about 2 months now. The backstory, I'm all about career development. I used to work at a prison here in the state of California as a nurse. I still work as a nurse, but I worked as a nurse for them, and I was making really good money. I was making about $134K, getting a pension and all that stuff that the state benefit provides. I still work for the state government, still get those state benefits, but I really wanted to work from home and advance my career. So I pivoted out of the prison to work as a nurse consultant. In doing so, oddly enough, I had to take a pay cut. But the runway itself, going into the future, it's way higher than 134K. But my pay cut from 134K is to 110K, right? 111, 112-ish, around that area, which is pretty significant. But the runway in this avenue, right, working as a nurse consultant for the state of California, I can go up to 185, 190K that I know of. Like, I know it's publicly available to see that range. So I know that the runway in the long term is going to be a lot better than where I was, right? I get to work from home. My schedule's more flexible, Monday through Friday. I don't have to work overtime, and just the runway, right, of the money that I'll be making. So a big difference. So the short-term plan, with that being said, is to stay on pause for a little bit longer. And if I really have to, just to kind of stabilize myself, kind of rip the Band-Aid off and then start to go again, right, with my funding schedule, I would probably plan to sell a chunk of the portfolio in the short term to really stabilize myself and start to look and climb again. Because at the moment, I can't even climb, right? I'm kind of like, have no wind behind my sail. I have no air in my balloon. I'm just stuck, right? I'm waiting for the dust to settle. If I really wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and really let the dust settle, I'd have to sell a chunk of my portfolio and kind of do it that way. For now, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stay paused. I hope maybe in a month or two, we'll kind of see how the dust lands and we'll continue onward. But nonetheless, we'll keep the drip alive, right? And then in terms of the long-term plans, I don't want to stay in this job forever. I really enjoy it, but I need to make more money. So I keep my eyes open for other opportunities as they present themselves. Still with the state, because I still just want that safety net of having a pension. For me, I think that's very important. I don't know what the future is going to hold, but I'd rather hold that ace in my deck of that pension, right, than not have it. So that's just the route that I'm going with. So because I'm working for the state of California and have this pension, I can retire at the age of 50. And that is my goal. My goal is to retire at the age of 50, work not a single day more, and retire comfortably. Retire comfortably with my dividend portfolio, with my pension, hopefully with at least 1 or 2 real estate properties. I'm trying to be, realistic here. Maybe just a duplex, and that's 2. But at least 1 real estate property. And then, my other investments, right? Which are like a 457B but I think that's it for now. Because I don't have a 401k, I have a 457B as I'm a state government worker, which I think is better. But that's the plan, friends, in terms of the long term. So with that said, friends, let's continue to pivot and move forward. Now I want to show you guys how much my dividend portfolio currently pays me in dividends. And I'm going to let you know, it's not super exciting. If you saw my last video, it's going to be about the same. And instead of showing you guys on my app, I want to show you guys on M1 Finance's calculation. I get paid $2,539.87 as of this moment. So we've crossed the $2,500 mark. We're slowly kind of trickling up. We're staying paused for the moment, so it's going to be a slower climb. But nonetheless, friends, this is what I get paid. This is what my portfolio pays me. And yeah, I just like being transparent. All right, friends. So if you made it to this part of the video, this is the part that I wanted to connect back to the NVIDIA. So this will be very contrasting to that point. But I want to tell you guys, some of you guys have heard it before if you've been here for a while, but it's been a while since I've shared it with you. But like I've said, in honor of what's going on in the markets, it's the perfect time to bring it up. And it's the story of my worst loss or / investment regret to date. They're both the same. And I don't know if you were able to guess it, but the guess is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, friends. Back in 2018, when I was a college student getting loans in my nursing program, I used my loan money to buy Bitcoin. I did. I even took out more student loan money to buy a Bitcoin. My goal was to buy 1 whole Bitcoin, and I accomplished it. I did back in 2018, and I got the receipt. If you guys like receipts, oh Jesse, you're just saying this. I'm gonna show you. And before I show you, I want to tell you that I bought this Bitcoin, and I was also into altcoins, right? ALT coins, altcoins. And I was like, okay, let me outsmart this, right? Because like if you've been in crypto, you know that some altcoins really just blow up, but the ultimate, most prominent holding has always been Bitcoin. So for me, I've always just known that, hey, you can make a lot of money with Bitcoin. Like back in 2018, I was making money with Bitcoin. Like I was buying it and it kept going up and down and up and down. And it actually gave me a good return. But I want to show you. Before we go there, I'm just going to let you know, I traded my Bitcoin, right? Let's cut to the chase. I traded my 1 whole Bitcoin for Digibyte. Digibyte is an altcoin. That was my worst loss. Doing this one change was my worst loss because I still held my Digibyte until literally about 3 weeks ago, when, like I'm telling you now, right, I'm finding myself in a tough spot financially. I had to pull money somewhere, so I pulled and sold my Digibyte for $1,500. So I traded my 1 Bitcoin in 2018, and I held my Digibyte from 2018 till now, and I lost money, right? I'm going to show you how much a Bitcoin was worth to me back then, and I'm telling you today I sold my Digibyte, all my Digibyte, which was the equivalent of 1 Bitcoin in 2018 for $1,500. All right, friends, so here's the receipt, right? Bittrex, whatever. I'm probably going to blur out my name. So if you see a blur here, it's because my name is there. But here you can see I had a total of 1 Bitcoin, right? Back in May 1st, 2018 or 1/5/2018. I don't know which one, what the date is, but back in 2018, I don't know how they write this, but you can see Digibyte to Bitcoin. I bought 224,000 Digibytes, and I sold my 1 Bitcoin to buy that. So it was just an exchange. This was the price of the Bitcoin at the time. Like they count it in like Satoshis or something like that. So it was like this was the price. I don't exactly know how to count it, but this was my transaction. Or I traded 1 whole Bitcoin for 224,000 Digibyte. So remember this, okay? Remember this. So here we are, friends, in Bitcoin today, right? Today, as I shoot this video, is $98,767. Like I said, in honor of the news going on, Digibyte's going to hit 100K. It's going to hit it. It's inevitable. Is it going to hit it today? Is it going to hit it tomorrow? Is it going to hit it next week? I don't know. In 2 months? I don't know. But it's going to hit it. It's inevitable. I bought this back in 2018. Let's say May, right? April, May. It was $8,000 in 2018. So I had 1 Bitcoin worth about $9,000, right? You could say, around this time, and I traded it for my Digibyte. $9,000 is what I had my Bitcoin. So I lost money. I lost $9,000 of Bitcoin and sold my Digibyte for $1,500. So that's a big loss. The worst loss is the fact that I had 1 Bitcoin, and today it's $98,000. $98,000, friends. So when you talk about your loss or your worst opportunity missed, I'm always going to have probably one on top of you, right? I will have one on top of you most likely. So when I show you Nvidia is my golden child, right, in my portfolio, just take it with a grain of salt. I deserve that one. I deserve that one. That would have been my house right there. That would have been my down payment for my house. Who knows, right? But this is the other part, right? As you hear this story, I want you to understand this key part. Life doesn't work out that way. I'll repeat that. Life doesn't work out that way. Just because I held Digibyte the whole entire time until now doesn't mean I would have held Bitcoin from 2018 to 2024 and bought it at 9,000 and sold it at 90,000, right? That doesn't mean that. I honestly, the psychology in investing and seeing those swings, I probably would have sold my Bitcoin at like 30,000. Right? Going from 9,000 to 30,000 is a huge increase. Honestly, maybe part of me would have held it on forever. I don't know. I did know that I always wanted to hold 1 Bitcoin, and I always knew when I got back into the workforce and I kind of traded it for Digibyte, and Digibyte was doing so poorly, I always kind of told myself I want to hold at least 1 Bitcoin, like just for bragging rights. And that's when it was like back at 20,000 or so. Right, when I was entering the workforce as a nurse. But even then, like to buy 1 Bitcoin for 20,000 as a new workforce member, it was a lot to swallow. Right, so it continued to get more and more out of reach. Now, if I want to get 1 Bitcoin, it costs me $90,000, and the fact is, if I buy it at 90, it may drop to 30 in a year because that's how volatile it is. So I don't know. So life doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way, and I'm going to end it with that, friends. Sit in that with me. I always think about it from time to time. And I have a story on Tesla and Amazon as well. And penny stocks. I'm a dividend investor and it's been working out very well for me. But I also have my history of losses and investment regrets. So that's going to be it, friends. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys were able to enjoy that last little bit of story. Anyways, the journey continues. I'll see you guys in December, the last month of the year. Continue, friends. You got this. And take care.